A pastor from a church in Pittsburgh told me a story a while back. He had a student whose mother lived in Scotland. And so the student's mother sent an anniversary document from that very old church. You'll find out how old in a moment. And it was an anniversary celebration that churches often have, but on the back of it was a list of all the pastors the church had ever had during its existence. Now, in the beginning of the list, you would find all the regularly long names the pastors get, like the Reverend Dr. so-and-so. But then as the list got through 2 or 3 centuries, then you would only find the Reverend. And then finally, at the end of the list, there were only 5 pastors of that church who served before the Reformation. And the very last person who was on that list, all there was there was his first name, Richard, with a dash, 1226. Today's a day of remembering and leaving, and on days like this, it is best to be reminded of God's love for us. And so I'm sharing with you one of my very favorite Psalms, one that has been part of my life for longer than I can remember. Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high, I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit? Oh, where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle in the furthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you, and the night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. For it was you who formed me in my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them yet existed. How weighty to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. I try to count them. They are more than the sand. I come to the end. I am still with you. Oh, that you would kill the wicked, O God, and that the bloodthirsty would depart from me, those who speak of you maliciously and lift themselves up against you for evil. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Some time ago, my mother began to lose her memory. When I was with her, she would say a sentence, and then in a moment later, she would say, "Karen, did I tell you?" And then she would repeat the same sentence. And that would go on for a while. And I would only just say, "Yes, Mom, you told me." And we passed many months like that. There was one night that was particularly difficult and arresting when Mom was in the bedroom and I was in the next room in her one-bedroom apartment, and we had already gone to bed, and then I heard her voice in the other room, and she said, "Karen, did I remember to feed you today?" I said, "Yes, Mom, you remembered." Being remembered, like Richard, 12:26. Whenever I was caring for Mom, this psalm was one that carried me through that difficult time, because it reminded me that I am always known, and I always will be known. I'm not to be forgotten, and Mom was not to be forgotten, and Mom was held in the arms, the steady arms of God, and that no matter what, I would be remembered forever, because God would always remember me. And that is the same for you. When all is forgotten, God's memory of you endures forever. And how does God remember you? Well, God remembers you by name, we are taught. Richard, 12:26. Karen, 2019. God remembers you by name, and God remembers you as you were when you were first peeking out at the world, newly born, seeing your face, bright as the sun, shining with God's image. This is how God remembers you, and this is how God will always remember you. It doesn't matter how many years you pile up in your life and the signs of those years show in your face and your body. God always remembers you as you were newly born in the image of God. God always remembers you as a babe who needs to be held, fed, carried, loved. This is how God remembers you, no matter what bitter, difficult hardships you have faced, mistakes you have made. None of that shows in the image that God has of you when God remembers you. A few years ago, I went with some of you to visit Hal. Hal was having a bad day, or a difficult day, we were told, before we ever went over to Schaumburg, to the place where he was living. But as we walked into that place, we could see Hal. He was on the other side of the room, and as soon as he saw us walk in, his eyes just lit up. He saw the love in our eyes, and he recognized us. And as I looked at Hal, and I saw that light go on in his face, I could almost see that little boy named Hal, when his eyes would light up when his father came home for work or his mother gave him a birthday present. As we age, the image in our faces and our bodies begins to look more and more like the child that we once were, shining through. That is how God remembers us. Well, this past week, I had a very difficult Saturday. I had a crisis of remembering. I was going through all of my stuff that I've been moving back and forth from the church to the house, I actually gotten to the point where The stuff that I had already moved to the house, I had to move back to the church because I forgot I needed it for something else. That's when you know you're in big trouble. And so I was going through piles and piles in my living room trying to get rid of all the stuff I didn't want, and all of a sudden, I couldn't find my ordination certificate. Oh my God. Dan will testify to this. I was plodding around the house, leaping from room to room, sorting through papers over and over again. I mean, I had been sorting through those papers for half an hour, and I kept looking at them, and there was no ordination certificate. I was so upset that I finally got into the car, and I started driving toward the church, thinking maybe I forgot it and left it here, but I knew that wasn't true. But anyway, I still started driving, and then, I remembered. And so I called Dan before I got here, because if I was right, I didn't want to have to get all the way here and then drive all the way back home. I said, Dan, can you check in the crawl space? You see, yes. The very first box that I packed to take out of the office into the house, I put in a very special place. You know how you tell yourself you're going to put something in a very special place? Well, this place was so very special that I could not find it. So I grabbed that thing and I put it to my heart. Oh, I've got my ordination certificate. Also wondering, what in the world is wrong with you, woman? You never even opened this thing up the whole time you've been a minister. It was so dusty. I never even put it up on the shelf. I never framed it. I never did anything with it. But as I opened it, 3 pages dropped out. And they were the pages of the charge that was given to me by Morgan Roberts when I was ordained. I hadn't seen that since my ordination day. So I'll share with you just a few little things about it. The first thing he said that day, now this was the day before I ever actually did anything pastoral, now remember, because I wasn't a legitimate pastor yet. He said, don't forget your dreams. Never, ever forget your dreams. And then he said, don't be afraid to trust in kindness and peaceableness, no matter what is going on. Always be steadfast and hold to the things that got you to this place today, and you'll be fine. So I share them with you also as a congregation. My charge to you. Don't forget your dreams. Always remember the things that are written in your heart, the things that are in your mission statement, the things that really matter to you and have always mattered. Never, never, never toss those aside and tell yourself, I don't need these anymore, because you desperately need them. And don't give up. Don't be discouraged about all the things that are going on. Be steadfast. The world has always been a mess. Now, it might be a bigger mess now, although some people would say that's not true. But the world does not respond to the loving kindness that you can offer by giving you a hurrah or showing you that we have come so far. No, tiny inches, infinitesimal, small progress is made. And it requires much, much love and many generations of lives. So remember, all of your work is in God's hands, and it will not be lost. It will never be lost. And finally, I ask you to cast your eyes upon the person who will come after me. is love. And listen. The way you listen to me, listen to him. You know, at the end of every service, we have a benediction. A benediction is literally a blessing. The Greek word, means good words. But today, I have a benediction for you in the sermon. And you have already heard it. So let me see if I can remember it. And if I don't, you can shout out the next word. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything, with peace and grace and thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And finally, whatever is good, whatever is pure, whatever is commendable, whatever is just, think on these things.